Yes, sir.
I tried to fall over a table out there.
And me. Just us two.
All righty. We've been in executive session and now we're ready for our regularly scheduled meeting. If we'll please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We're going to skip number 5 because of the weather. Looks like we'll skip number 6 because of the weather. And so we'll move on to number 7, the consent agenda. Chair will accept a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Report of the superintendent. BHS courses 24-25.
Yes, kicking off tonight, I am excited to share with you courses that we would like to offer for the 25-26 school year. So you can see there are 2 pages there. We have an independent living skills course. We have geometry and construction. Now that we have our construction pathway, we will be teaching geometry within that pathway in construction. So we're really excited about that.
Who will teach that?
I don't know for sure. I think they're fighting over it.
I didn't know if it would be in the construction or the mathematic department.
It'll be a combination.
Okay.
Mhm. They also went and saw it in action last summer and came back really excited about it. I saw it through Ford and GL and brought it back to them and asked, we just needed somebody to get excited about it. So those teachers are pumped. The other exciting opportunity for our kids at the high school is through our Healthcare Institute. We would like to expand that courses through MCC to start our medical terminology and human nutrition. And I also included a flyer that will be handing out to kids to promote that. Currently, we have, just so you know, we have 10 in the program, not for these particular, for the health track, but for our business and business pathway. So we're excited to continue that partnership. And then also through MCC, the Technical Center. So it'll be taught by MCC instructors. Our kids will attend over there.
And what's the reasoning for putting fundamentals of speech in this coursework?
Which one are you?
I'm looking at the Academies of Health. I mean, I can see the point, but I just wondered, that's kind of a different vein of what you're.
That is part, they're part of their pathway. So this is a 2-year. So this would be their first year. And then it's part of either they can take it first or second. So they wanted to balance out and not so heavy on the medical piece and have the communication so it wouldn't overwhelm the kids.
I like that it's in there. I just was curious.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to take a speech class.
Well, it's required to graduate.
So the administration would like to ask the board to approve the additional BHS courses for the 25-26 school year.
Motion to approve the BHS additional courses for the 25-26 school year.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the BHS courses as presented for the 25-26 school year. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. APR.
Good evening. I'm going to go over last year's, the 23-24 school year's annual performance report scores with you. Our overall score last year was 77.5%. and we were classified as either approaching, on track, or hitting the target in all areas. There's also a floor category, which is the lowest category, and we did not have anything that was in that floor category. Some bright spots are the amount of growth that we are seeing in ELA, English Language Arts, math, and social studies. We received a larger number of growth points in all three of those areas last year than we had the previous school year. So that's a celebration. We saw these improvements with all of our students. We have an all student group, and then we have a all students, and then we have student group. So we saw the growth with both of those. All students is everyone. Our student group is comprised of historically underperforming groups. It is our direct certification lunch students. It is our English language learners. It is our students with disabilities, and then it's also our Black and Hispanic students who are comprised in that student group. So we saw growth with all of those. We hit the target in a few areas as well, which is the highest category. So we're proud of that. We hit the target for growth for all of our students in social studies. We also hit the target for our advanced credit and our graduate follow-up work. Next slide, please. Now, this slide is focusing on continuous improvement. So that first slide we looked at, it was focusing basically on student outcomes, their results on the test scores and whatnot. And then this slide focuses on what we are doing as a school district to provide our students with a high quality learning experience. And in this area, we received all of the points possible for multiple categories. Just a few to highlight are our strategic plan or our school improvement plan, our kindergarten entry assessment, that KEA, that's an assessment we give to kindergartners within the first 30 days of school, and then timely submission of our core data. You can see there are other areas up there as well. I did want to go back and outline the difference between our academic achievement points and our student growth. So we get academic achievement points for the category that students fall in on the MAP or EOC assessment. So those categories are below basic, basic, proficient, and advanced. Of course, we want as many kiddos as we can possibly get scoring proficient and advanced and meeting those standards. But those growth points are awarded for kids moving within their own continuum. So once they take that first third grade MAP assessment and they have a valid baseline score as a third grader, then they're getting a scale score. And there is a statistical analysis that's done that shows whether or not that student made adequate growth in that content area as a fourth grader and as a fifth grader. And so that's how we're awarded growth points. So you might have a child score proficient 3 years in a row, and they can also be getting us growth points if they were at the bottom of that proficient category initially, but as they continue to make gains and get closer and closer to advanced, we can get growth points for them, even though their achievement category might not change.
Long overdue.
Yes, absolutely. We've got some areas of improvement if you want to go to the next slide. And these include our ELA, math, and science. We continue to work on these as priorities in our classrooms in terms of that overall achievement. Like I said, we want the largest number of students scoring proficient and advanced as possible. So we are grateful that our kids are growing and that we're receiving those growth points. And we want to keep that momentum up so that we start seeing the payoff in the achievement category as well. We also want to continue to focus on improving our student attendance. And we are in our second year this year of implementing our Belton School District Attendance Action Plan. And that has some strategies outlined for administrators, teachers, school personnel to support students and families to make sure all of our kiddos are in school so that they have access to learning. Then if you go to the next slide, you will see the last 3 years, we have an annual performance report score. So you'll see that for the last 3 years. We talked about that 77.5% on that first slide, but we also get a composite score, and our composite score was 78.6% last year. And this composite score is a weighted score between our continuous improvement and our performance total. So performance is worth 70% of that weight, and continuous improvement is worth 30% of that weight. And it includes data from all 3 of those school years that you see at the top. So that's how we get that composite score. And another celebration is that we continue to be an accredited school district based on that score. You have to receive at least 70 percentage points or more to be accredited. So we are falling into that category. I just want to take a minute to recognize our teachers, our non-certified staff members, our paraprofessionals, our office staff members, custodians, principals, our administrators, everyone is working so hard to contribute to many of the successes that I've mentioned tonight. It takes all of us, whether it's clearing the sidewalks so that we can get back into school in person as quickly as possible or whatnot. It really does take a village to help our kiddos be the best they can be and acquire the skills they need to be successful in life. So we're grateful to everyone. We're grateful to our Board of Education for your continued support with our academic initiatives and everything you all do for us. So thank you for that. And what questions do you have for me?
I asked my one.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anyone? All righty.
So hold on, I've got some questions.
Okay.
I'm assuming our MAP scores, are they a big influence on this total APR?
Yes, they are reflected in that performance. It was the second slide, the first slide with data.
Right.
Go up
Right.
one more. And
Right.
yes, the academic achievement status and
Right.
growth. Yep.
And I am not here to burn anybody at the stake. And I also recognize that a lot of new faces are in the room, and this is years worth of data and efforts and things of that nature. But I am also here to say, and I know that we've began movement towards this discussion of how much weight are we actually going to put towards this APR as a school district? And it's more of a rhetorical question. Because and I recognize, like, we're barely squeezing by. We're trying to make gains. We had a small dip from last year to this year, but that was an increase from the year prior to. But essentially, and I've said this before, I don't feel like the APR is reflective of our teachers or our students. Now, I do recognize that it is how we get our paycheck. We have to have certain data to be able to receive certain funding. But I'm also going to say too, and I have a different perspective because I still have one in the school district. And these are just my notes. I don't expect any responses, but classroom management is becoming more and more of a struggle. To the point that there's not a lot of teaching going on and there's not a lot of learning going on. I feel like it is becoming more about behavioral management, and there's just not enough time for curriculum. And I feel like we can see this through grades. We can see this through teacher retention. We can see this through even application processes. Like, we are struggling to get applicants for teachers, staff, administration. You know, like, we see that there's this ripple effect in several departments throughout. And so this is my SOS out to the community, whether it be parents, whether it be our staff, or even just us on a board level and our administration, that we have got to start digging deep into what we are going to do as far as the behavioral piece of this, so we can really get back to our curriculum. and I'm doing this to back our teachers. I'm doing this to back our students. And I don't really know if at our level, we understand what some of these classrooms are looking like. And it's more so once we're talking 5th grade and above. It's a big struggle. It continues to get worse. We can see it through behavioral reports that we get. We also see it through fights, and we have the data in front of us, and that's just the ones that are getting in front of us. I feel like we can do better, but we also have to start giving the autonomy back to our teachers and our admins, so they can kind of take back their classroom and they can start teaching our students. That's all I really have to say about it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Chair will accept a motion. Oh, okay.
This information.
It just says an action on it. So we'll move on then. Thank you. McKinney-Vento program.
Yes, I am here tonight to present on the McKinney-Vento program evaluation. A little background, McKinney-Vento Act of 1987 is a federal law that provides protections for enrollment in services for students who are homeless, as defined as any student who lacks a fixed, regular, adequate nightly housing. And students are automatically enrolled for free meal benefits and provided transportation from where they're currently housed if it is outside the school district boundaries, if they meet this qualification, and extracurricular activities, including clubs, sports, they must be made accessible also for the students who are identified as McKinney-Vento eligible. And funding for this is provided by local funds, with a small portion of the transportation cost reimbursed at the state level. So for our program staff, it's me. I'm the district homeless coordinator, Angel Labby, who is the assistant for arranging transportation, and Anita Majors, who is the student enrollment and identification. Currently this year, we have 47 students listed as McKinney-Vento. None of the students are as a virtual status. We're providing a cab service to 7 of the students. 1 student is listed as a walker, 11 are car riders, and none of those apply for the reimbursement for transportation. 28 are bus riders. Often our students are identified. This is not something that many students want to come and tell people, that they are homeless or they're sharing a couch or they've moved in with a friend or something of that nature. So our secretaries or our counselors, those people at the school level, are really the ones who will work with students to identify their needs, and then they will call and let Angel or Anita know, and they do a great service of getting services set up as quickly as possible for those that qualify for that. Some of the strengths based on our survey results, we did have a survey sent out to the parents who are parents of students who were identified as, have students identified as McKinney-Vento. 5 parents responded out of the 47 students, and we sent it to our staff members, and 21 staff members responded. So we did not have a high response, but we took what we could from that. Some of the strengths are that us implementing this act helps reduce the number of school transitions for students who are qualifying under this as homeless. Our staff are able to identify and offer contact information for parents to get help. I feel like I know Dr. Jones before me and Angel Labby have worked very hard to improve this program, and the identification and setting up the transportation has happened at a much faster rate, hearing from our secretaries at the school. BSD also provides, like I said, transportation in a timely manner for students. Some opportunities for growth. Staff members, as always, would like to have some more information about McKinney-Vento, what the program truly is and what funds are available. A lot of times our counselors, secretaries, as I said, nurses, administrators have a really good understanding of it, but teachers sometimes would like some more information about that. Also, family members remarked that they would like a little bit more clarity on reimbursement for transportation. We do send them a packet of information once they have qualified for McKinney-Vento and filled out the paperwork. But I think having those one-on-one conversations and families feeling comfortable calling and being able to ask those questions, I think that they would like an open channel for that as well. I also included the detailed survey information as a PDF for you, and it should be attached.
So the reimbursement for transportation isn't, I'm looking at, it's just not a
Mhm.
simple, like if they use a cab, they get the money back. It's not that simple. Is that why there's more clarity?
Well, sometimes parents themselves can be reimbursed for transporting their student back and forth to the school if they meet certain qualifications. So some parents don't know if they're going to meet the qualifications or not, or how they could get reimbursed. Some parents do not, complete the paperwork for whatever reason to get reimbursed. So I think they want more clarity on that, which definitely that's something that we can work on putting out there for parents too.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Is that one that we need an action on? Okay. All right, ELL program evaluation.
Yes, that's also me. So our program description, it's primarily funded by local district dollars. The program includes 6 teachers and 3 paraprofessionals who work with students K through 12. Teachers and paras work with small groups and individuals on English acquisition. We also receive Title III funds from ELL and Migrant, partially paying for a homeschool liaison who works with all of the district schools and families of English as a second language learner. So that would be our Welcome Center, Miss Patty. Our program staff is Patricia Berindenson, Summer Garcia, Adriana Garcia, Jennifer Mosakowski, Leanne Kennedy, Jackie Nielsen, Maria Durner, Nympha Serrano, Georgiana Garcia, and Elia Ariano. I just wanted to recognize them because they do such a great job providing services for our students and work very hard to communicate and build relationships with our families. We have 252 students served district-wide. At Cambridge, there are 43, Gladden 34, Hillcrest STEAM 25, Kentucky Trail 25, Mill Creek 32, BMS 41, BHS 52. And this year we enrolled over 30 students district-wide who are considered newcomers, meaning that they have never been in school in the United States and have not had any English instruction before. So based on our feedback from our survey, for this survey, we sent out a survey to all our ELL parents. 8 parents responded, 57 students responded, and this was from 6th grade up. 53 staff responded district-wide. So our strengths were definitely the caring and dedicated staff came through, the teachers and paras that work with the students every day, how much teachers and staff members appreciate all the hard work they do with our students. The program is, you can tell, very valued and considered important and beneficial to the mission of our district. Some of the opportunities for growth, our caseloads for the teachers have grown over the past few years. And adding to that challenge are the newcomers and limited time for the teachers to provide intensive English instruction. So I know, especially at the high school and middle school level and at Mill Creek, they're having to provide newcomer classes, which is cutting down on the amount of time they may get to spend with some of the small groups that they work with as well. Teachers will either push into a classroom or pull out students in small groups. And sometimes it's a one-on-one basis as well, given need. Also, an opportunity for growth would be continuing to look for comprehensive curriculum and resources to support classroom instruction. I know our classroom teachers have expressed that they would like more professional development on assisting the ESL students, ELL students they have in their classrooms, and having more tools to do that, whether that comes from our ELL teachers or outside training, and increasing opportunities for parent education and partnership. And that's something that Miss Patty from the Welcome Center already has many plans for as we proceed she sees a lot of openings that she could use to have parent education, and has built some great relationships in just the first semester she's worked with our families here. So we're excited about some of the upcoming partnerships she will have to partner with the parents and the high school counselors in the future as well. And then I've also attached PDF of the survey results for you from the ELL migrant program evaluation. Any questions?
So help me understand.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to use, say, Summer Garcia as an example. Does she spend the entire day with each of these kids, different subjects, learning, teaching English and things like that? So I'm trying to look at it like the overwhelming part. Is it so like as it grows, Summer's getting more and more kids that,
Right.
okay.
So she, for instance, works at the middle school. And so when students come to school, they're given a screening test, and they also take an access test. It's a state level test that gives us a level that the students are proficient or where they're operating if they're needing services. So from there, they generate their caseload similar to that of a special education teacher. So you would have a certain number of kids on your caseload that you work with. And so that looks like pulling kids out in small groups that are all at the same level or grade level, or that might look like a teacher, you go in and support a teacher in a 4th grade classroom during a certain time of day. Maybe it's EL English, or maybe it's a subject where there's lots of comprehension taught, such as history or something of that nature at the high school. Plus they're working with newcomers, which are learning basic English and basic school survival skills once they get to school. And a lot of that is oftentimes individual or very small group as well, due to their needs.
Anyone else have any questions?
So I have a couple of things. And Dave, I'm kind of going to piggyback on what you were saying. 10 staff members for 252 students. Bye guys. 10 staff members for 252 students is, I recognize when you break it down, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. We have classrooms with larger sizes, but yeah, I feel like that's a lot when you are trying to help them with a full scope of different classroom assignments and different categories, different areas. And then on top of that, also trying to simultaneously teach them another language. That is concerning, but we've also seen this number grow every single year. So I think we kind of knew this program is going to continue to grow annually, and we're always going to have to keep adding resources to it, or staff members to it. But one thing that, and I recognize the parent survey was probably nominal just because not understanding our systems and the fact that we're trying to get their input. So I get it. But even on the ones that did respond, which was only 8, they said that funding was a concern. Reading through the students' written responses on what they think the principle of the class is, one had said they needed a quiet place to work, which kind of is on the tail of my earlier mentioned concern. Another one had mentioned to not be ashamed of speaking 2 languages, which also speaks kind of volume about the climate. And even some students wrote in there that they felt like there wasn't any money for their program. And again, the students in that, general category about the funding, they feel like there's not enough funding and resources. So I do feel like that is something that if kids are identifying that, we probably need to look into why do they feel like, is it the curriculum? Is it the software they're using? Is it just there's not enough time for the teacher to give adequate amount of time per student? Maybe looking into why the students are giving that kind of feedback on the survey. That's it.
I broke it. Okay, so I'd like to remind everybody that I think this is one of the reasons why we put in our strategic plan a language immersion school that we're looking at. So I just wanted you to remember that, Teresa, that we are looking at that from as part of our strategic plan.
100%. Just, adding in the input from the evaluation that was provided. That's all.
Yep. So, okay. Any other questions? Seeing none. United Way update?
Yes, again, we partnered with United Way.
It's the Kelly Crumley.
Yeah, I'm taking over the midsection here of the board meeting. We partnered, Ms. Brown and I partnered with United Way and the school district, many generous staff members in the school district as part of their donation campaign this fall. And I just wanted to give you an update that our district generously donated $4,811 to that campaign. And that was district-wide, and some people are having donations taken out of their paycheck each month. Some people gave very generously a one-time donation. Any donation that they gave was very thoughtful and very much appreciated. United Way does help many things in our district, the Guadalupe Center, our pantries, things like that. Families can call their service number at any time and get assistance. And I know that families have called that number that I've worked with in the past as well and gotten very good response when they've needed help with transportation or paying bills and things like that. So United Way does provide a service here. And I know Ms. Abdelgawad has worked with them in the past too for her donations as well. So we really appreciate all of the generous giving and just wanted to give you an update on that figure.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? All righty, thank you. All right, the Excellence K-12 survey results.
Yes.
Microphone. Thank you.
Yes, we had a phone survey that was completed by Excellence K-12, formerly known as Patron Insight. We appreciate their efforts and have had success with being very consistent with our voter turnouts in the past. We just received this information the first of the week. We wanted to share with the board. As one of the items that we had contemplated was the possibility of transferring some of our levy out of debt service into operating to look at our 2 R's at HR, which is recruit and retain our staff. And so we are always looking at ways in which to do that. We have, as we've talked about, the board has wanted to pay down debt. We've been aggressive and been successful in paying down. And when we get to a point where, in essence, we can free up some of our levy to move toward operating to help us with compensation of staff, obviously it's a win. It does not increase our overall levy. It is just literally moving from one area to another. So the phone survey asked that. Hopefully the board had an opportunity to look at the results. I believe 63% were in favor of such an initiative. There was 28% that was they did not know. So that obviously would fall on us to educate people between now and April if the board chooses to put this on the ballot. And there was only, I believe, 10% of those that were surveyed that were against. So we've tried to be consistent with these surveys and go out and ask our public before we ever put items on ballots. So once again, we did that. And there's other, we look at sections of the city and the school district. So we get feedback from not just one area or locale, but then we also ask some other questions in regards of people's perception of the school districts as well.
Got a really good geographical reporting. It was evenly across the city.
So here's my one concern with the survey results. Sorry, guys, I'm just full of, feedback tonight. Page six, question 22. There was 300 folks surveyed. 172 do not have a child or grandchild in the school district. So over half of those surveyed were asked questions that they really wouldn't have heads or tails of what's going on unless there was a specialty situation, like maybe they were employed with the district or something of that nature, which even then wouldn't probably put it down to even half. So I do have a little bit of concerns. I love that we try and do this. I just wish we could, and I know it's random, so that's the problem here, but I wish we could target this more towards folks that actually have students in the district. or
vote.
But they
grandchildren.
still vote.
With what you said, these people still
I un-
vote, so.
I
Pay
understand, but
taxes.
They're taxpayers.
you're
They pay
absolutely
taxes.
right. You're absolutely right. Not arguing that, but what I am saying is some of the questions that are in here really are, how would they know unless they are involved in the school district or they have kids in there or grandkids in there? I guess that's the point I'm trying to make.
No, I got it this time. I have a hammer. I'll beat his. I'll beat Tony's equipment into submission here in a few minutes. I appreciate that and I understand that, but once again, some of them may hear about it from family or just being around it. I don't know who all got called, but for instance, my parents might have gotten a call.
Mhm.
They hear more
Again,
about the
right.
school district. They hear
And that's
more
what I'm
about the
saying.
school district than they ever care to.
100%. And I recognize that there's isolated situations here, but there's also a lot of problems that can come and stem from hearsay as well.
So, okay. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good report. And for those of you, well, all of us have been here a while, but this company has been pretty good at helping us with our last few bonds. And they've been, I believe, Dr. Underwood, if I'm right, one of them they hit within a 10th.
Yes, it was really close. They've been within a couple percentage points, give or take either side. And we have utilized them, I believe, 4 times.
4 times, as I remember.
Now, I don't want to jinx that and this be the time it doesn't, but
yeah,
we have, and phone surveys do tend to be more accurate. People that do online or they seem to be hot or cold. And so trying to get the general public, because they cannot count one of these individuals unless they complete. Because some people may, no, I'm not answering these questions. They get partway through and they hang up. Those are not completed calls. And so therefore they do have to work to obtain. And so the hope is, and I agree that some people may not know, but then also this can help educate those people as well. So it could be a reverse effect where we've educated and somebody couldn't say, well, they didn't know. And the irony is I've had people in the past ask me, well, nobody got called. I don't know who it is. And then we'll ask around. I know we've done it at the foundation before, and we'll have a foundation member or two that will say, yes, I did get the phone call. So I just go back to they have been very accurate in the past.
Okay. Any other discussion? No. All right. So now we're down to levy transfer resolution.
So Dr. Poise and I had opportunity. We've met with our bond representatives, our financial advisors with Stiefel over the last few months, had conversations about what the district can do. We're always looking to try to be competitive in regards to staff, trying to obtain resources for the district. As we've been in, we've done a planned deficit spend this year. So if there are ways that in essence we can maneuver our funds and our finances to help us with some flexibility, this levy transfer, and we did this back in 2021, from moving this from debt service into operating, it does allow us more latitude. As you guys well know, if it is in debt service, it is for debt service, and that's it. If it's in operating, it could be for salaries, benefits. It could still be for debt service if we ever needed that. But according to the information that we have in regards to where we are with our assessed value, with our levy, and where we have paid down debt really in advance and can still do so even the next year, that we can move this over. It does not hurt our bonding capacity. And so if we want to look at future projects, this does not diminish that or decrease that, and that we will still have the means to pay our bills, which is very important. I know to everyone here at the meeting, we did 50 cents last time. We don't have that latitude because we also want to be conservative and careful not to over extend ourselves, but the 30 cents we could utilize and transfer that over, excuse me. Our overall levy would remain the same. And we would, in essence, the rough estimate was about 1.6 million that we would generate in additional revenue per year.
Okay. So you're asking us to vote to whether we want to put this on the April election.
Yes, this would be for the April election. We do have to have it to the county, I believe by January 28th. Thank you. And so legal has looked at this language. Once again, I feel like we've done our homework in regards to our finances. And this is in essence a way in which we can generate additional revenue. And I'm not guaranteeing any certain raise. I'm not guaranteeing any certain position. But we do have this, and this will allow us, in my opinion, to be as much and or more competitive with other area school districts as we're all looking to hire people. And we want the best candidates that we can obtain. And so if there's any question in regard to, obviously is very clear in regards to the 30 cents, in regards to that increasing the operating tax levy ceiling, but then we hope that the voters will read the entirety of this, because at the end, this will result in the estimated overall tax levy of the district to remain unchanged. We did this last time. We wanted that up sooner in the language, but I believe it was the Attorney General would not allow that. And so and we have to have that approved by the state in the way in which the language, and we did try and we were shot down on multiple occasions, but they did approve this. And so, and if the board wants to make any wording changes here, we can take those, approve it. Some people like to put a prop B or instead of a question 1, some may want to change in essence what the use of the funds are. We try to be somewhat general. Obviously, operating fund needs to be there. We do talk about salaries, benefits for employees in order to recruit and retain quality faculty and staff. So that is in the language. But once again, if there is any item or wording here that the board does not like, or we need to change, we'd be happy to do so.
Can you put on the area where it basically says no tax increase, can you put that in bold or highlight it in yellow or anything like that?
My response is no on ballot language. I do not believe they allow you to. We need to talk to that guy down at the county.
Not anymore.
He's gone.
So our Belton Friends of Education need to really get the word out that this is a no increase.
Yes, and obviously, if the board approves this to put this on the ballot, that would be our plan and initiative to go around and share the information, obviously to go around to our staff, to every community opportunity we might have to share this as well with our patrons, so they are informed. They may not agree. They may agree. We hope they do, but that they are an informed voter in April, and we would hope and believe that they would support this initiative.
Thoughts, folks?
Need a sign for my yard.
So the administration would recommend the resolution as presented to the Board of Education.
Chair will accept a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the levy transfer resolution for the April ballot. Any discussion?
This does put the board members' names on there to be voted on, just so you know that as well. Because last time we did this, Mr. Armelio and Mr. Daniel's names were on there. We did not have anyone run against us, but we do have to put the board members' names on there as well. So I just want the board to be aware of that.
So you can tell people when they go to vote for you, they need to look at that question.
Okay.
Old news.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
All opposed, wait,
She said aye.
oh, aye, okay, all opposed. Passes. All righty. Many of you I've spoken to, and I know Dr. Underwood as well. This next one is the board meeting date changes. The staff thinks that we can do these meetings once a month. And that would help them spend time with their families. So I am wholeheartedly in agreement with this one. So the chair would accept a motion and we can have a discussion. And that would go ahead. Any discussions? Anybody would like to have it? I think it should be the third Friday or third Wednesday, Friday.
No.
No, on the Friday. I'm sorry, I quit.
No on
I'm
Friday.
going home right now. Third Wednesday of every month. And I would like us to start that in February, if that's possible, with this board. If there's any questions,
Can we do the first and second reading, or do we
Yes.
we could,
separately?
or we can do it for the March meeting, whatever you want to do. But that's what I would like us to try.
Do we have to do them separately?
Yes, the administration would recommend the first reading of policy BDA and reflect the changes to the third Wednesday of each month at 7 p.m. as presented.
I'll make the motion to approve the first reading of policy BDA as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the first reading of policy BDA as presented. Any discussion?
One to Bob and one to Jill. Are we comfortable that being 30 days in between, we're not going to lose a possible candidate, or we have some financial considerations that we might have to approve?
You can always have a
We
workshop.
can have another, we can
always
always
have a
add a
workshop.
meeting if the administration needs it. We cannot take a meeting away.
We're comfortable with it.
I have a question. Wednesdays are not a good community time to have these kind of meetings because it's church for families. 1/3 of our board meetings involve families with recognitions. So are we going to eliminate them attending our spelling bee and things like that, and our activity and athletic recognitions because we're having it during their church nights? And that's always been a thing in this town, that Wednesdays are pretty much a family night for churches. And some of you may not realize that, but it really is.
I just learned something.
And so that's my only concern, that why don't we just leave it on a Thursday instead of moving it to a Wednesday when we're going to infringe on some of those family things that are already in place?
So my counter to that is there are many times that we can't get people here because of basketball, volleyball, whatever sport is that the next sport is. So I would say that we should still go back to the Wednesday. And if we needed to do a different night for a recognition, we could certainly do a recognition night on a different day.
I think changing to once a month, that's a good thing. But I think changing the day of the week is a totally other thing that we need to look at more carefully, because people are used to our board meetings being on Thursday nights. And that's how, and when we do those events, the spelling bee and the award, the recognition nights, we have good turnouts because those parents can come. But I don't know that we'll have as good a turnouts with on Wednesday nights. That's just my concern. Most of the committees that I'm on or things in town, we avoid Wednesdays because we hold that important for families to have their time on Wednesday night. So that's just me speaking up for people who generally.
and Mary, I completely understand, and I could argue the complete opposite, that there's a lot of activities, PTAs, PTOs, boosters, things of that nature that meet on Tuesday and Thursday nights.
Yeah, and that's why.
I don't think we can win, honestly, but
No. But that's why they meet like that, because we've always kind of left Wednesday as our family night.
Well, why don't we do this? We'll just do the one for tonight and then let's think about it. And then we'll have a longer discussion for it on the next meeting. But I still believe that the third Wednesday is the right night. And we can have I mean, if you guys want to discuss it and do it tonight, I'm perfectly fine with that. But with the weather outside, I'm also okay with us waiting until the end of this month. So whatever the way
I would
this
like to
board
come
would
back
like to
and
do it
talk
that
about
way.
it further.
I just want to make one comment, though. There's no one here.
I'm talking about the 1/3 of our meetings when our families are here.
I understand that, but most of that's usually.
But Jerry even made the comment that we can do those recognitions on a Thursday night, that we don't have, we can make accommodations for that when it's necessary.
Well, I just, yeah.
3 times a year.
Okay, well, so what do you guys want to, we have the motion on the board for the one reading. If somebody wants to do a second reading and start it, we can certainly do that motion after we do this. Norm, go ahead.
I mean, I'm kind of with Mary. I mean, I think, I'm okay with changing to one meeting. I think that's great. I mean, it helps everybody here. I would rather see it left on Thursday because that's what everybody knows our meetings are. So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay,
I just, food for thought. I wonder if more people would come if it was only, the one time of the month, you know what I mean? But I can tell you that every athletic schedule that a lot of them that are in our district are Tuesday and Thursday nights, with the exception of high school football on Fridays. I don't know much about like swimming and things of that nature.
Most of our C team games are on Wednesday night, Mondays and Wednesdays. So you've got something every night. I'm just looking at it in terms of family time, not school time, as Wednesdays has always been a family time for churches outside activities. So
okay,
Back when I first got elected, my daughter played basketball Mondays and Thursdays, so I missed a lot of Thursday meetings. And I tried to get it changed then, but they didn't listen to me, so.
Jim, we hear you now.
Who's that?
all right, so we have the motion for the first reading. So if there's not any other discussion, let's continue with the first reading, and then we can certainly can't have the second part of the discussion at a later date. So all in favor of the first reading of changing our policy to BDA to the third Wednesday of the month, say yes.
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 Well, we're just accepting the first reading. All opposed to the first reading?
No.
Okay,
I abstain.
all righty. I think that passed.
it's just the first reading.
First reading. So, all right, that'll be fine. Okay, new business, MSBA policy first reading. We got some reading to do here, folks.
Yeah. That's just a drop in the bucket.
Just a
compared to
drop in the
what's
bucket
out
compared
there.
to what's going on.
Yeah, this is 2024C MSBA recommendations for policies. You can see the list all over the board. Obviously, some HR items, safety, staff leave, student discipline. So yeah, it's literally all across the board. So administration would recommend the policy 2024C changes as presented.
Motion to approve the first reading policy 2024C as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the MSBA policy first readings as presented. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Horizontal advancement.
Yes, a few of those for you this evening. The administration asked the board to approve the horizontal advancements as presented.
Motion to approve the horizontal advancements as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the horizontal advancements as presented. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Passes. Committee updates. Probably don't have much going on right now.
I got 3 pages.
Okay, well, let's start with you.
I'm serious. I've got
Up.
3 pages.
You've never lied to me yet.
Which do you want first?
Surprise me.
First page.
Okay. MSBA. Okay, we got stuff coming up with MSBA. We have lunch and learns. Those are going to be on one Friday a month from January through May, 12 to 1, if anybody's interested in that. Monday night may be interesting to many of you because it's a webinar from 6:30 to 8, and it's AI in education. It's a continuation of what we saw at the state conference. Officer nominations for state MSBA officers ends January 24th. They're still continuing the last Wednesday of the month as webinars for board presidents. March 11th is Advocacy Day at the Capitol. March is also School Board Appreciation Month. And I'm sure most everybody in here already knows that the national conference is in Atlanta, March 20th through the 23rd. Let's see, was there, I have other stuff about legislative stuff, but that wasn't on the agenda tonight, so I won't talk about that. Okay, so that's it for MSBA.
Alrighty, go on with, you want to do Belton Cares?
Okay, Belton Cares. Town hall meeting is next Wednesday, 6 o'clock, High Blue Wellness. So that's, then we will be hosting our second youth forum, second. That'll be February 26th at Memorial Station. That's on a Wednesday. Following on that Friday will be trivia night at the high school. This year we moved it because we outgrew Memorial Station last year. It was too crowded. And the 28th of February. And then it's way on down the road, but it'll be here. I'm just saying it so we can think about warm weather. Troy Shaw Golf Tournament, August 9th. August 9th.
What time is Belton Cares?
Which thing?
On the,
28th?
oh, I thought there was something next week.
Oh, Town Hall, 6 o'clock, High Blue Wellness.
We do form at night.
Yeah, it'll be in the evening. We haven't established if it's gonna be at 5:30 or at 6 yet, because I've got the Memorial Station already reserved for a daytime activity for driver safety, and then they're just gonna let us keep it for the day to
Isn't-
do the youth forum at no additional charge.
Isn't that the day of the cooperating school district?
It
Okay,
is, it is.
Okay.
We're gonna have another conflict here in just a minute, so I'll get there.
alrighty.
Okay, so, Belton Education Foundation.
Sure,
Okay,
I believe you.
okay. December, the board went around, the foundation board, and handed out right at $16,000 in grants for teachers, counselors, and it was pretty exciting. Some people got really emotional. We're gonna have some really neat things happen. We're gonna get more inclusive playground at Grace. I think that was the one that touched hearts really strongly. Bright Car Wash, Dr. Underwood can attest to this, donated 5,000 items to the food pantry. Yeah, he helped unload that trailer. Yeah, but we did get some cookies and a free car wash for doing that. So anyway, end of year giving, the goal was 35,000, and I don't have a total on that yet, but before December 20th, we had received 23,000 for the end of the year giving. So I will have more of an update on that after the next board meeting. April 4th is the 5K Glow Run at High Blue Wellness.
What day?
April 4th. And then February 13th through the 26th is the Major Saver campaign. And then here's another conflict. March 20th is bingo night for the foundation, and that's when the national conference is in Atlanta. So that won't,
Is that
or
the
March 22nd.
big bingo? Oh, that's bingo. Sorry, not true.
No, that's bingo. Trivia is, okay. And then another one of those future dates down the road, September 6th is the gala.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Hmm?
We haven't determined the theme, but we're pretty sure it's gonna be the same place. We're pretty sure, but I can't give you 100% on that. Okay, so how'd I do? I rushed through that.
You did good. You did good. Alrighty,
I really did have.
alrighty. Board signups, we had only Mrs. Fletcher and I sign up, so at least that part of the ballot will be fine. And so do you have anything for that? Nope. She's so excited, you can tell. All right, miscellaneous dates. January 20th, no school, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The 25th is the court warming dance. at 7 PM. The 30th is our next Board of Education meeting. The 30th through February 2nd is the BHS Theater Winter Play.
And Frank.
And Frank, thank you. February 14th is a no school staff PD day. February 17th is a no school for President's Day. February 26th is the Cooperating School Districts of Greater Kansas City Legislative Day at the Capitol. March 20th through the 23rd, as was mentioned earlier, is the COSBA Conference in Atlanta, Georgia. Hopefully it won't be Hotlanta in March, but we will
Right
see.
now.
Any other dates that the chair missed?
Is there something on the 23rd of January, the cooperating school district? That's been canceled. Okay.
It's actually, they changed it to the 26th of February for that.
Okay.
The capital instead, so I refreshed it.
Gotcha.
Okay. I wonder what all that was.
Okay. Any other dates? Seeing none, the chair will accept a
I
motion.
make a move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. Any discussion? Seeing none, Jim,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
I think you're still there, and Norm.
Yes.
We're adjourned. Drive safe, folks.